At approximately 11 a.m. on Monday, that is today, the Constitutional Council of Cameroon formally declared President Paul Biya the winner of the October 12 presidential election, awarding him 53.66% of the vote. The announcement came amid widespread unrest, deep distrust of the electoral process, and a volatile post-election atmosphere that many fear is a prelude to worse days ahead. Within hours of the proclamation, opposition leader Issa Tchiroma, who declared himself the winner days earlier, spoke in defiant terms. Kill me if you want, but I will liberate this country by any means necessary, he declared, signaling that he and his supporters and alliance intend to continue their fight. Issa Tchiroma asserted that in his Garoua neighborhood, the regime had planted 7 snipers with a mission to monitor and, if possible, kill him. But they were discovered timely enough. However, 2 people, he said, were shot dead just after the official proclamation of the elections in Yaoundé this morning. Shooting your own brothers, Issa said at gunpoint, I wonder if you are not mercenaries, he asked in the post. While independent verification of all details remains scarce, the claims align with mounting reports of live fire, arrests, and mass unrest in the country. Across major cities, including Douala, Yaoundé, Garoua, Ngaoundé, Bafoussam, Chang, among others, the reaction among sections of the population has turned from protest into direct confrontation and direct action. Some offices of the Electoral Commission, ELECAMS, or they call it Elections Cameroon, have been set ablaze, party official homes touched, vehicles burned, and prisons forcibly broken, and detainees let go. Local authorities confirm dozens of arrests and at least 4 confirmed dead in the aftermath of the proclamation of the results this morning. In Douala, youths blocked roads, threw stones, and clashed with riot police using tear gas and live ammunition. In the northern region, eyewitnesses reported that inmates, that is prisoners, were released during chaotic prison breaks, signaling a breakdown of order in some places. Accounts of anger are particularly fierce in areas historically aligned with the opposition, where many voters feel disenfranchised. The Catholic Church, through the National Episcopal Conference of Cameroon, commended the calm of voting day, but later warned about serious irregularities that marred the electoral process. The same body urged all actors to respect the truth of the ballots, an indirect rebuke of the post-vote atmosphere. The Constitutional Council, for its part, had just days earlier dismissed all opposition petitions as lacking jurisdiction, reinforcing perceptions of a stacked process. Behind the scenes, cracks are deepening in the ruling elite. Former regime insiders now aligned with the opposition pointed to the unlikely score lines in Anglophone regions and other strongholds of dissent. mathematical miracle of fraud, wrote one disenchanted CPDM official online, precisely on Reddit. Meanwhile, the campaign of Issa Tchiroma had drawn unusually large crowds ahead of the vote in Douala and elsewhere, every part of that country. Evidence, some say, of latent opposition energy. An underreported but increasingly visible phenomenon is the shift of many southern Cameroonians living in Francophone regions today, packing back into the war-torn territories of Amazonia. The fear of post-election reprisal or of being caught in an escalating security crackdown is reportedly motivating this migration. Analysts warn that a spiral of alienation and flight from the Francophone heartlands may feed the separatist conflict and weaken national cohesion in La République du Cameroon. Although Paul Biya is publicly the figurehead of Cameroon's long-running political system, many voices now argue that the real powers behind the machinery lie elsewhere, not necessarily in Paul Biya himself. They point to senior officials of the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, the CPDM, ministers, regional governors, party operatives, and state administrators who have functioned for decades as the operators of patronage, election logistics, security deployment, and resort management. Looking ahead, Cameroon faces a precarious path, with the result now declared but legitimacy deeply contested. The risk of escalation is very, very high, very, very high. The authorities may respond with further security crackdowns, arrests, curfews, and communication blackouts like shutting down the internet entirely. On the opposition side, however, calls for protests, civil disobedience, and even parallel governance structures are emerging. Economically, market disruptions, transport blockages, property destruction, and investor flight are already being reported. The security context, against the backdrop of the Anglophone war in Amazonia and threats escalating from this election results from Boko Haram in the far north, amplifies the danger of wider conflict. At its core, the crisis signals a rupture of the social contract. A population that believed its vote was ignored. An outgoing regime with power deeply entrenched and an opposition unwilling to yield, unwilling to give up. If one thing appears certain, it is that the status quo cannot simply continue in Cameroon. For many young Cameroonians, this election may mark the point of no return. What lies ahead is not simply another 7 years under the same leadership. It may be a broader confrontation between state and society, between operators and outsiders, between a crumbling system and a restless people. The question now is not only who holds power, it is how the power is held and whether change will come through ballots, bullets, or both.